Jake, I'll get to you in a second. Treatment and accessibility. Talk about, Andrew, how important is the treatment and treatment being accessible for people in really desperate need?
Well, it goes back to what I talked about before as far as, insurance companies go. And access is critical, because when you need the help and when you ask for the help, you need to get the help as quickly as possible. If you delay, then the desire to follow through becomes less and less. And to piggyback on some of the stories that I talked about before, if, as in New York State, a lot of treatment facilities for dealing with mental health issues and drug and alcohol issues, and Stephen, you correctly identified the fact that you have to deal with both. There's a term in the field that's called, co-occurring problems, where there are issues of depression and anxiety that are co-occurring with substance abuse or addiction. And so getting treatment in which there are professionals, providers that are able to address those issues are critical. And again, for people who have any kind of insurance, New York State has created policies in which the emphasis is on people with Medicaid getting that help. And I'll tell you a story to illustrate that. Here we are in Long Beach. Some years ago, it was probably a couple decades ago, I was on the beach, and at that time they had a wider berth for you to swim, closer to the rocks, I guess, than they do now. They've kind of narrowed it as the decades have gone on. But I was in the water one day and I saw these three little girls drifting towards the rocks. And I guess the lifeguards didn't see them. And so I just swam out and I just put my arms around them. The oldest one had to be about, I would say, maybe 9 years old, and the younger ones maybe 5 or 6. They just somehow drifted out. And I was so close to them, I could see the freckles on one of their faces. And so in some time, the lifeguards came out and, thank God, relieved me and pulled the girls in. But let's imagine another scenario. Let's imagine that I swam out to the girls, and instead of putting my arms around them, that I treaded water just a few feet from them, and then I said, do you girls have Medicaid? And if they said, no, mister, and then if I turned around and swam back to shore. That's the situation that we face in New York State right now when it comes to community-based agencies being able to provide the care, the universal care for everyone who needs it. At my agency, we turn no one away for inability to pay, but the only way we do that is because the community supports us by raising funds so that we could fill in the gap that's the result of the state's neglect, of government neglect. And that's another reason why access is not available for so many people, so many middle-class families, wealthier families, because the policies do not allow for the access that's necessary. So we have to all fight and advocate for that to change, for there to be the funding and the access through the insurance companies to get the care that's needed. Not enough to throw money at programs, not enough to train people in overdose activities like Narcan. That's all great, but we need more than that. And that's the problem that we have in New York State. We don't have the access that's needed.
Steve, you want to expand on that?
Yeah. Seeking treatment is not just like something that's suggested. It is absolutely necessary. It's absolutely vital. And when I say vital, when you think of vital signs, it's a life or death thing. It's completely needed. Like, you have to understand and accept that you don't have the tools, resources, and knowledge to conquer this on your own. You know, and in most cases, neither does your family. And it goes so far beyond getting the resources, tools, and knowledge. It's also gaining that separation. You know, going away to an inpatient facility, the greatest thing that it could do is just give you that, put 30 days under your belt, and you can come home a little more clear-headed, a little more competent, a little more on the ball, and be able to embrace a program of recovery and start living a program of recovery. And see, that's why I'm so grateful for the relationships that I have made in this process, and being able to assist people into treatment. And it's where I feel most at purpose. You know what I mean? And if I could just say anything,
It's like your life's mission now.
I truly believe that. I live recovery, you know. And if I could just say anything to the viewers is, if you or a loved one do feel you need help, or you need assistance getting into treatment, please don't hesitate to reach out, to contact me. You know, this is what
Give your contact number.
this is what Slate is for. I don't want to see you become a statistic, and that's the bottom line. My phone is on 24/7. It rings in the middle of the night anyway, so I always answer my phone. 516-574-9380. My email address is steven@theslateproject.org, and I'm always available. I'm always here, and I'm always able, because of my vast variety of resources, I'm always able to help somebody receive treatment. I hate saying no, and I won't.
Very good. Bob, you want to talk about the treatments?
Well, I was on the board of a local organization in Massapequa for 20 years, and I'm no longer on that board. And one of the reasons is that you could have a family in crisis, and you would call, and you would go down, and there'd be a 3-week wait to get in. And I thought that was atrocious.
Horrible.
So, do they have the funds to do it? Probably not. Do they have the county or the state or the town support? Probably not. I know that when they look at budget concerns for all the organizations, is the state going to kick in? What's the budget going to be? Are they going to get cut? So you're right. Sending letters, petitioning, doing whatever you got to do to keep that money flowing is very important. But unfortunately, it's not considered cancer. It's not considered, you know, one of these more mainstream diseases that you see on TV. It's got a stigma to it, and until we release that, until we say that this is a real issue, you are getting some more. I hate to say it like this, but we're getting a lot of press, you know, with the presidential election, and everybody's talking about it, and there's a lot more money being thrown at it today. But until we get further and further down the road where the stigma is released, that this is a real serious issue, not only from the heroin, which is really more dramatic, but the prescription drug use, where people are being, you know, you twist an arm or you sprain your wrist, and next thing you know, you get 60.
It's just what I was going to get into, opioids,
right?
yeah.
So, and then we talked about athletes before. How many, I mean, we want to talk to kids and bring them up, but how many ball players, football players, baseball players have you seen that have OD'd and died that were good athletes in high school and in college, but they all of a sudden now they can't afford it. They can't, you know, they're taking this Vicodin or whatever that could, you know, oxycodone, and next thing you know, they're transforming to something else like heroin, and because maybe it's cheaper, it's more accessible, whatever it is. So if we don't try to help regulate a lot of these things and talk more about this stuff, and make it more mainstream and relieve the stigma from the general public, like that woman that said in that one meeting, not my kids, not my family, not my town. And it's all about these kind of things that will bring that out.
You know,